The Shift Report with the Hood Mystic, where shift happens.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. This is going to be the first of a four-part series in reference to how to survive during the Kali Yuga. What's bringing on this conversation is a conjunction between Neptune in the North Node and the sign of Pisces. We will look at this aspect. Um, we will also go through the Bhagavad Gita, 4 verses in there over 4 days, and discuss the spiritual implications, but also give us some tools and tricks on how to navigate in this particular matrix. So, with all that being said, I just want to welcome you all to the Shift Report, and this is exactly where shift happens. I'm your host, the Hood Mystic, and be prepared for an educational, inspirational show. So let's just get into what we came in here to get into, which is just an overview of the energy. The best place to get your weekly overviews for said energy reports would be my home site, which would be hoodmystic.com. That is hoodmystic.com. Every week, I'm making it a rule, starting on Sunday, not starting on Sunday, but every Sunday will be an updated sidereal astrology chart for the week, giving us just a weekly overview whether a new moon, full moon, or quarter moon is taking place that week, and also any significant aspects or transits. This week, the sun transited into sidereal Aquarius. We had an article discussing this. We also had a video going through the sun in Aquarius in all signs. If you have not seen that video yet and you want to get ahead, you don't want energy just to be random. You want energy to be succinct and concise and able to assist you in your journey. Go visit that video, but also read the article. If you need a link to the article, just visit hoodmystic.com, as well as the Rumpelstiltskin transit, which was a quarter moon, where you're not supposed to wallow in your negative emotions. You are supposed to do alchemy, transmit those negative emotions into profit, period, point blank. So, utilizing this particular portal that Venus conjunct the North Node is, we have to begin to realize that we create our reality from an internal perspective. So, regardless if you see everybody doing ratchet stuff, everybody, doing do dirty dirtball stuff, that is not an indication that you should follow suit. What you should begin to do is understand, and I just now noticed it. I'll change it right here. I don't care. It's not Venus conjunct the North Node, it is Neptune conjunct the North Node. And I think partly because of Neptune's and Venus relationship and proximity in the chart, I got those two confused. But with all that being said, uh, check out all of these articles: the Sun in Aquarius article, the Rumpelstiltskin transit article, as well as the Neptune conjunct North Node. Now, although I understand that there's a lot of information, my goal is to be as concise as possible to help people understand the ways of the world without it being so overwhelming and feeling like you can't get over. So, the reality is this: I could tell you a million and one things to do, and you'll try to do those million and one things, but you'll be overwhelmed. We're going to reduce the conversation today into understanding the soul. So, if you want to make it through this matrix, if you want to grow, one has to particularly, specifically, emphatically understand their soul. So, peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. Appreciate everybody for taking out some time to, you know, indulge me for one, and for two, get closer to the understanding of their soul. Because we understand the importance of our soul. Sometimes we can live in this matrix, in this world, with our kids, with our jobs, with our emotions, with our afflictions, with the things that we hear on the news, and get caught up in this external world. But as spiritual beings, it's okay to take some time out to not see what's going on in the news, to not see what's going on in the gossip section, or whether Kendrick Lamar had secret symbols in the Super Bowl, which is all cool. It's good for fodder. At a certain point in time, spiritual beings have to stop, take a gander at what the soul represents. And the reason that we're having this conversation, if you're going to look at to the left of the to the left of the chart, rather, my mouse is moving. Hopefully you'll be able to see my mouse. My mouse is in the energy of sidereal Pisces. Okay, so when we look at Pisces, we have four specific energies, and Saturn will be progressing into Pisces as well. In some calendars or some calculators, it is already in Pisces. So if we want to count Saturn, we have Saturn, Neptune, Venus, Chiron, all in Pisces. When we have our lunar eclipse, the sun will be in Pisces and all of these energies. So there's a couple of things we can begin to prepare for. Nodal relationships in reference to planetary conjunctions, in reference to changes that take place on this earth, right? So once again, that can seem very convoluted, very complicated, but I'm trying to be as simple as possible, because what I'm doing is condensing 20 years into trying to understand this shit into, a 10-second blurb of words. So it is kind of hard, but if you just kind of just will just begin to like relax, take a deep breath, and empty the mind, right, we can begin to understand this. The reason that we know certain things about the world around us is because of the nodal axis. Anytime a planet is conjunct the nodes, it deals with some form of eclipse or shadow. So ancients always view the nodes as some form of a portal. That's why in your chart, to get a basic understanding of your north node and your south node, might be the only thing that you need to know about your chart if you want to be specific, especially if you're in the space of the houses. What house is your nodal disposition? Is your north node, and it's always going to be opposing houses because the head is going to eclipse and then the tail is going to process it. So, with all of this being said, we have two specific things happening in the world. We have the vertex conjunct the south node, but we also have the Neptune conjunct the north node. So, the vertex is a very simple thing to understand. It is whatever you want, whatever you desire. And this is what we have to process in the work that we do. So, in this world, most of us sane adult people are going to do specific work for money, whether it serves our soul, whether it even has anything to do with our special talents, abilities, what we can offer to the world. And most sane, good spirited adults work at this job, make their money, go home, and live their lives in a rather isolated type of form. This begins to be an issue where we have a 6th to 12th house disposition. The South Node in Vertex is all about your service to the world. So, to simplify this, what do you love to do? Most people are not in tune with what they love to do because they were never forced to bring it out. When you're in school, your teacher doesn't make it a point for you to cultivate what you love to do. When you are in school, your teacher cultivates what she wants you to do. Now, does that make sense? Ones in the chat. If you went to grade school, K through 12, this part of you, your sixth house, was not cultivated. So it more or less seems worthless. Your service to the world, your 12th house, these are actual paradigms within modern Americans we have not sat at the bed with, right? So many people look at spirituality as a ways or a means to come up, which is cool. But ultimately, this is much, much more to this. So when we begin to discuss the soul, we have to begin to first separate ourselves from the body. As spiritual beings, let's bring this to the table, right? This is numero uno. Like, as long as we're going to have a real live conversation, you cannot reference spiritual conversations in the body. So how much money am I making per se off of said thing that I'm doing has nothing to do with spirit. Now the physical needs the money, needs the food, needs the love, needs the nurturing, so forth and so on. But you will be so caught up in getting that and attaining that, that the 12th house, the 6th house, Virgo, Pisces, entity creation, right? Where, so in Babylon, there's such a thing called the ritual of prostitution, where it can be made up false. It's just a story of ancient history. You can look it up. Every woman had to go through a certain form of prostitution before she could leave the temple. And in order for a man to have sex with a temple prostitute, they had to give her a shekel. And a shekel was just wheat that was converted into a coin. Once a woman got her shekel, she could then, proceed to live, whether she was going to get married, whatever the case may be. This then begins to be an analogy for the world that we live in now, because in reference to traditional marriage values, they're going out the window. We've thrown out traditional values for basically casual sex, hookup culture, right? Which is cool because it brings us into witchcraft. It brings us into spiritual development, because there is a specific world where we all live under predominant Christian values, which for a majority of our existence in this later 400 years have been the predominant mindset. But that predominant mindset is actually locked down because we're spiritual beings. And the reality of our spiritual beingness is that we have spent a lot of time in different physical bodies. We have been men, we have been women, so the most manliest, brutest man have got his back blown out in a previous lifetime when he was a dainty female. One's in the chat if that makes sense. So ultimately, through our conditioning, through school, through our conditioning, through social programming, our sixth house is retarded, which then retards the seventh house, eighth house, ninth house, 10th house, 11th house, 12th house. Therefore, our ways of dealing and engaging even with ourselves and even understanding ourselves, we get completely lost because we're so preoccupied with being a wife, a mother, a daughter, a husband, a man, a brother, a cousin, a friend, an associate, a business owner. The sixth house is like transformation. It's like becoming an adult. And an adult in real life has something to do for that society. Now, depending on the system, we don't live in a specific caste system where if your daddy is a miller, then you have to be a miller. If your daddy was whatever, you can basically choose what it is that you want to do to contribute to society. The decision that you make is going to be the money that you make. You're going to make money off that decision. Now, we haven't fully cultivated our ability to make that decision, because where do we cultivate our ability to make that decision? In our fifth house, our house of talent. So this is something that everybody has to, this is the cross that everybody has to bear. Now, the ultimate of all ultimates for the majority of people will say, I don't have any talent. I don't know what my talent is. That's why Leo, the Kundalini in the back are all synonyms for that's where you find it at, through raising Kundalini, which brings us into our sixth house. What do you have to offer? What you have raised within yourself. So I don't have any talent. That's BS, because you are a soul. You have lived in multiple lifetimes from consciousness. So when you begin to try to rationalize Neptune conjunct the North Node, this is once again a portal into and a karmic lesson into, because the first deacon of Pisces is ruled by Saturn, a spiritual karmic lesson that is lifetimes in the making, which for the average person just completely blows their mind, because they never sit and think of themselves in this way. But in fact, this is the true way of looking at yourself. You are, in fact, a spiritual being having a human experience. Everything you deal with in this particular space and time in reality is 100% illusion, because it will definitely fade away, especially when you transition out the body. So think about all of the times you thought about stressing out over work. There's so many people, and it's been almost 2017. I haven't worked a full time job since 2017, which, not to say that I won't work a full time job again, but I tend to think about the amount of emotional astro energy that I spent on thinking about the job, trying to finesse through the job, or the pressures and stresses that the job created. And a lot of my astral energy went into, the boredom or the stress or the racism that like completely shut me off from who I am as a soul. So the fear that you have in not, so you have a soul, so you can cultivate your soul, develop your talents, develop your energies, and create a viable service or product to the world, and make a shitload of money to the point, and organize your businesses, so get the insurance that you need, do everything that you need to do in reference to living a life that is much more freer, much more happier, through the mode of cultivating your soul. I have done that for many, many years. I have done that for many, many years. So I'm not just a person that's saying it. And I would be on the spectrum of people who don't feel as though they're actually quote unquote talent. But we're talking about cultivating your soul. And in the cultivation of your soul, in the understanding of who you are as a soul, it comes with benefits. And if you buy into every program, you do every course, you watch every video, you got notes and books and all of these particular things, what you have not done yet is cultivated your soul. So when I'm talking to people and I'm looking at charts, and we're redirecting energy, because um, a lot of the wells have run dry, based upon a lot of people have been getting paid off the facts of we're living in a world based upon made up currency, which is, it's a very scary time on many different levels, but it's also a very empowering time if we do not approach this season in fear. If we do not approach this season and breaking down, we need to approach this season as in, I have the available means to accomplish anything that I want to accomplish, because we can look at these past years, ever since the 70s, any initiative that these people wanted to push through, Congress was giving them imaginary money. People have bought houses, and I've been covering, breaking everything down on my Instagram and my shorts. Every time something happens, I'm letting people know. I'm letting people know we're moving towards a universal basic income. Sooner as you know it, Elon talking about he ready to give Americans $5,000. That is just the tip of the iceberg. The reality of money is that it's not real. That's the reality of money. Is nowhere that you can go to the central bank reserve. There's nowhere where you can find any value in reference to the actual economy. It is all made up concepts. This works in your favor because you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You can get loans, you can get grants, you can get the things that you need to bring your enterprise into fruition, but you got to actually do the steps. You got to actually do the steps. And Mars being in the position that it is in, you might not be able to act upon this shit immediately. Mars might go through a whole nother 6 months period before it gets into Leo, where things will just start kicking off for you. And for a lot of people, they will use that as a means to give up. But I'm using it as a means to be strategic. I'm using it as a means to act on it as far as doing the paperwork, coming up with a business plan, seeing where the funding is at. Because the funding is there, obviously. That's what all of this stuff is about. Letting you know it's not anything bad, it's not anything negative. It's just letting you know where the illusions are at so we can dispel of those illusions and get back to the natural order and business of things. And for a lot of people, they're just going to want to go to the club and drink and do whatever they're going to do. But if you raise Kundalini and you make decisions in reference to your calling, what you're supposed to do in this world, there's unlimited funds available for you because we exist in a world of fiat currency. So, as much as they talk about cryptocurrency, I don't think that anybody wants to give up the fact that we can just create money out of thin air, where cryptocurrency have ledgers and balances pertaining to the actual facts of it. So the move towards cryptocurrency, we're going to move into a state of financial control because the because I've been going through a lot of spell breaking with Neptune conjunct the North Node over these past couple of days. That's where this conversation is coming from. The spells that have been broken where I'm seeing that money is a form of control. And then spirit is running me back like playback loops of me worried about money. And me saying, well, I ain't gonna go here because I don't have enough money. One's in the chat. I'm not going to do this thing because I don't have enough money. That's actually control. That's actually lockdown. And maybe there was decisions that I could have made that didn't have nothing to do with money that I still would be in the space of my Mars principle in full action. So there's a lot of things that we feel that we cannot do. So you would say, well, I don't have enough money to start a business. But most business are start with debt. Your paycheck, if you have a direct deposit, this is how ill it is, right? Your paycheck is probably paid from a bank loan that your business got for payroll, right? It's a such thing as a payroll loan. I might be making that up, so I'm gonna look that up. Let's see. Let's see if I'm making this. So this is how ill it is, right? Your job don't even got enough money to pay you, right? Your job don't got enough money to pay you. Your job will get a payroll loan, which is a short-term loan that helps businesses pay employees and cover payroll expenses. Payroll loans are often used when a business is short on cash, right? And another thing, PPP loan was about payroll. The Paycheck Protection Program was a program that provided loans to small business to help pay payroll costs. So you might go into that job all day, one's in the chat, and five people come in, they spend $100, but your check was $500. At a certain point, you got to begin to make it make sense, right? This business don't make no money, but it's still able to pay me because it's paying you out of loans. Think how crazy that is. You looking at this as money, but it's in reality, it's not money. It's a loan. They're giving you their debt, and if nobody comes into that store, that business is just going to file bankruptcy. And you have, unless you took that debt and understood that debt and invested that debt and converted that debt into assets. I mean, like, I might get $10 and put it into crypto. I get $15, I'll just put it in there. Cause what the fuck is nothing. And I'm saying all of this to say it's a great day in America. If you can begin to understand this and open your mind to these particular truths of reality. So this is what Neptune do. This is what Neptune does. It breaks illusions. It opens you up to the truth of who you are. The first deacon is ruled by Saturn. The second deacon is ruled by the Nine of Cups. This is the ultimate of energies and entities, right? Which is you. I'll show you the Nine of Cups. You've probably seen this tarot card before. It's that one song by Aloe Black, right? I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. That's what the Nine of Cups is. This is the preparation to he's sitting there with all of he like Kendrick Lamar, right, with the 5 Grammys. Right? It's like he done did it, he succeeded. But in order to get to the Nine of Cups, you have to go through the Eight of Cups, which is cutting away the bullshit, cutting away the waste, getting rid of the distractions. And it's easier said than done. But I can make this shit super easy for you. Understand that you are a spiritual being. So a lot of times people say, "Well, Hood, I hear what you're saying on this, but it doesn't fully make sense to me. It fully doesn't get my mind space in a way that you would hope that it would get my mind space." And I say that is cool too. So let's just break it down. We have a short presentation for you guys because who else? Who else going to drop an impromptu presentation on your forehead for the consciousness on a Friday, right? So presentation means it's time to take notes, it's time to be engaged, it's time to understand the soul. So let me just go ahead, get that there, get that there, get that there. Boom, boom, boom. All right. This new platform, I'm still getting used to it, y'all. I'm still getting used to it. Bear with me. Bear with me. So I'll make me small, make the information large. You feel me? So today we're going to be talking about the soul because it's a lot of and spiritual people have begun to become lost within the matrix and modern society because that's its job. Its job is to pull you away ever so slightly, to get so caught up in the matrix to then not understand the soul. So today this is a 4-part series. This is just part 1. We are going to learn how to survive in Kali Yuga, right? We are living in Kali Yuga, whether you know it or not. So, in order to survive Kali Yuga, which is basically the end times, and I got so many examples by now that we are living in the end times that it don't even make sense. So, with all of that being said, to protect your livelihood and to understand how to thrive in these particular times where most people are not going to understand because we see the world going down. We see the rent going high. We see our pay rates getting low. We see it's harder to get jobs. We see we in a 1 bedroom apartment and we spending 1,500 on it, and we can't really swing it. We ain't been able to do shit, go nowhere, have nothing. And if you find yourselves in this position where the world is against you, I pray that you find and get in unison with your soul. So this is something that we're going to understand. So before people be like, "Well, Hood, you just making shit up." No, we're referencing stuff today. We got sources today. This is well known data. This is not nothing to be played with. This is not something to assume. This is not something to think about. This is something that you should know. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, so do not identify yourself with the body. So, once again, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 13 states that as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood, girlhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person, a sane person, a person that just understands basic 2 plus 2 equals 4 is not bewildered by such a change. So there are spiritual people putting on makeup. One of the things that made people become spiritual was the need not to put on makeup. The need to, where do y'all think the dreadlock movement came from? Where do y'all think the natural movement came from? Because it was normal as hell when I was growing up in the 90s for people to get perms and sew-ins and quick weaves and all that weird shit that moved into the wigs. It's just the same shit, different package. But when you begin to get knowledge of self, you begin to not identify with the fuck of the shit that's coming out of your hair or how that shit even looks. Because it's all a phase any fucking way. And the irony of identifying your soul, guess what? The girls can't keep their hands off of you. And you be like, dang, he don't even be shaving all like that. He don't even be really caring. But he be having the hoes flocking. Because once a man understands his soul, that's the ultimate magnet. It don't matter what you look like. It don't matter about where you work at. It don't matter how tall you is. All that matters is that you self-identify with your soul. Now, does that mean be unhealthy? That's not what I'm active. That's not what I'm actually saying. Does that mean look crazy? That's not what I'm actually saying. What I'm saying is people act like the thing that is going to bring you success is something external, and the thing that is going to bring you success is something internal. May you find it now. That's what we used to say in the AA meetings. I used to go as a little boy. So let's break this down piece by piece. This is only a 3 slide video. It's nothing it's super intense, but it's very necessary for the average modern day American because people want to talk about everything, but they never want to talk about the soul. So let's break it down. As the soul continuously passes in this body, this is the first. This is the first aspect of it. So basically, what is being said, the body constantly changes from childhood to youth to old age. One's in the chat if you had the same mind when you was a little boy or a little girl. One's in the chat you had the same mind when you was 16, 17, 18. One's in the chat if you done growed up, you was 25. You had the same mind. Now you have got a little bit mature. You have more knowledge. But that consciousness doesn't get older. It doesn't, it stays the same. This is the irony of dealing with elders. We think that we're dealing with the progressed consciousness, and them niggas will fuck you over. And you like, damn, I can't believe that the elder scammed me to smithereens. See, the thing about consciousness is crazy. If a person have a, a non-developed form of consciousness, they just a ticking time bomb. And see, as spiritual beings, you get yourself into a position with people where you not even understanding, and then until they flip out, and then you talking to a 7-year old, you like, well, let's just calm down, and they like, no, I don't want to calm down. I'm about to throw a tantrum. And you like, wait a second. So you going to move from person to person to person, and this is so crazy, right? When you are married to a person, there is one specific indicator that you even need to look for. Are y'all Venuses conjunct? See, I bet you never even thought of that. You with somebody right now, and y'all got all types of problems, but y'all never even went through a synastry chart because y'all not even supposed to be together because it wasn't a seamless, easy transition. This nigga had money, was in the chat. She looked good, was in the chat. She was your type, ones in the chat. But did y'all have compatible synastry charts? Was y'all Venus conjunct? Y'all think that that shit's not real? As the soul can, like your soul, your chart is your chart. So it's a reality. I had this shit hit me so hard this morning. I had to wake up and look at me and my wife's chart to see where our fucking Venuses was at. You feel me? Yeah, please believe they was conjunct like a motherfucker. So a person would be in a relationship with somebody and y'all Venuses is not even in harmony. Talking about we in a relationship. And this is your life. Think about how crazy this is. And trust me, you could be in a relationship for 10 years and not be compatible. You could waste 10 years of your life and never get it back. You can. So, once again, you could be fat, skinny, old, young, tall, short, black, white, up, down, right, left. You start cultivating your Venus, what you truly love, your Leo. All right, here we go. Getting into these particular energies, and lo and behold, somebody just appears to you. Lo and behold, you look at y'all synastry and y'all completely compatible. It's easy to move through that. Imagine being in a relationship right now and you got your fingers crossed. Imagine being in a relationship right now and you trying to figure out if this nigga gay or not. Imagine that. You're not 100% sure if this nigga not gay. It's easy though. It's easy and hard based upon knowledge. See, if I'm trying to get into the house and I don't know that I'm supposed to open the door, I'm gonna be like really going through shit trying to get into the house. But if I understand that there's a door, then it makes things easy. What I'm talking is not mumbo jumbo. What I'm talking about is Kabbalah. Aleph, Bet, Gamel, Dalet. Dalet is the fourth letter where we get the word D. D, Dalet, is the doorway. That doorway is synonymous with meditation, with wormholes, with portals that open you up and expand your consciousness. Your consciousness can expand in reference to who you truly are. Things will make perfect sense. You'll start to begin to identify who you were at a past life. It'd be crazy. It will blow your mind how your old self will show up into this new self, and you're like, damn, I can't believe I was that person, but you were that person in many different lifetimes. And even the kicker part is we not even nowhere near towards the transformation of the consciousness of the spirit, which will move into the year 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. We will be in the same consciousness in future times in this world. This is why you should get this shit now. So when it get to 30, 50, you're not starting over in a fucking baby brain. Think about how torturous that shit is. Every time you living and dying and living and dying because ain't nobody kicked it to you in this way ever in your whole lifetimes. You nobody ever sat you down and said, nigga, you are a spiritual being. You keep going through many different lifetimes. In your past lifetime, you thought your ass was Lewis Johnson from Arkansas. You never even fucking thought that you was a spiritual being that had lived multiple lifetimes. If you ain't never thought about it in this lifetime, it's been lifetimes where you never got a chance to even fathom it. This is the beauty of this moment. This is the beauty of the Venus conjunct North Node. That portal is open. That communication is open. But you're not going to buy your way into self knowledge of self. You're not going to buy yourself into Kundalini. Well, I bought the Chakra Nova Intensive. Yeah, we've been tapped in every day, though. So, yeah, I mean, well, I spent the money, right? No. It's active self realization over a 49-day period. Get with it. Well, Hood, that seemed rather intense. Can I take a break? Can you take a break from breathing? Can you take a weekend off from breathing? No. You think your spirit is more important than your breath? I'm sorry, however you want to look at it. Spirit, breath, the same word. Consciousness of both, the same word. At a certain point, you got to sit and take and prioritize this and make it the more important thing, because the body is saying, I want to go out, I want to have fun, I want to date all of these people, I want to eat all of this food, I want to live. Your soul is sleep. You gonna wake up as a baby in the next lifetime. That's crazy. You gonna wake up and forget everything. That's nuts. Who gives a fuck about whether you having steak tonight or you going to the Bahamas on the 3rd of April? Who gives a fuck? You have a soul right now that should make you jump for joy, jump for glee. So in the psychonaut, right, there is a specific part about crying where people be like really trying to factor in why they should be crying. But I'm telling you, you're not even a human being. What the fuck you crying for? What the fuck you sad for? You're not even you're it's like you watching a movie and you actively think that you in the movie. You're not in this movie. You who you are is not even in this shit. People say, "Oh, you tall, you skinny." You could be a fucking Egyptian goddess. What the fuck? Talking about, well, you not as thick as old girl, but you was a fucking goddess. Like a real live goddess with powers and shit. Talking about, man, I'm struggling to feed my kids. Why create that affirmation when you have a soul? It's deep that way too. It's deep that way. Whatever we say, we begin to enact. So it takes a while to get an understanding and then act in that understanding. But if you don't begin to get that understanding, you will be trying to figure out what club is open on Friday, instead of understanding that you can begin to change your whole entire reality if you just calm down. Understand the magnetism of when you walk into a room. Understand it. Get in tune with it. Live and express it. Be unrelenting with your ability to self realize and self actualize. Identity is not rooted in the body, but in something much more fundamental. So, who you are is not represented into this is what keeps getting you into fucked up situations. You'll be 40 years old until you stop getting yourself into these same situations because you actually think that you're a girl. You actually think that you're a boy. And because you're a girl, because you're a boy, you got to do these particular things. And you'll continuously do these things until you realize, wait, I'm a spiritual being. Let me just take a second and take it all in and then make a decision. We are creatures of habit, creatures of impulse. And all of these things do nothing but keep your soul asleep. It's like having a genie and you never rubbing it 3 times. You only rubbing your meat, right? You got to be careful about that. The continuity of the soul. Just as the body changes within a lifetime, the soul transitions into another body at death. When this life is over, your soul is going to be in the space of reincarnation. You're going to get into another body. A lot of spiritualists begin to talk about how they're going to exit reincarnation and they're not going to come back. But the reality is, you can't prevent that. You can't control that because you can't control when you came into this life. You only just woke up into some shit that you didn't have no control over. You didn't, and spiritual people begin to make up shit. Yeah, you chose your parents. No, you didn't. Maybe in a karmic way, you chose these parents to learn certain particular lessons, but you didn't choose them in the way where you like, I want this mom and that mom so I can have a perfect life because you can't even bear witness to that. So you mean to tell me I chose a excuse me, I was about to say something crazy. But you mean to say that I chose to not have my dad support me in my fundamental years? Any rational conscious person would never choose that. There is no karma or lessons that you learn for not having your dad there. Same way as you don't get no karma for not having a left leg, it's just hard to walk. It's hard to live without a dad. You could get all of the spiritual shit you need and have your dad be there every day of your fundamental years. That's like saying I chose my mama because she was gonna smack me in my fucking face every day. You would never choose that. You not That's trauma. You don't learn from trauma. You don't learn from trauma. This is goddamn where spirituality hit a goddamn fork in the road because we can't even begin to teach our children no more. And you see it all in Detroit in the news with the way that these children are having to live without parents because the parents is out doing other shit, going to the casino, living the nightlife. And the kids is in the house living in crazy conditions because she haven't even been taught how to be a mom. She wasn't instilled in her because we come in this society where everything is a free for all, but we don't even get to see the implications because the shit that we don't want people to see, we good at covering it up now. So therefore, when we begin to understand that the work that we have to do as Atlanteans, which we have to uplift and shift the consciousness, is going to be in the year 3000. It's going to take 1,500 years to shift consciousness. It's going to take a lot of destruction. It's going to take a lot of paradigm shifting. It's going to take you living in this life, transition out of this body, coming into another body, and continuing the work. Now you can bear witness in the conversation because the technology in what we're doing is going to be on display. I will be able to come into my next body and hear what I got to say. I will be able to come into my next body and read the books that I've already written. Marie Laveau have done this. Pascal Beverly Randolph has done this. Aleister Crowley have done this. This is the reason why you have to. This is the reason why you have to do your spiritual work. How are you going to find yourself in the next life? I ask you. What is your digital imprint? I ask you. Because here it is, you're trying to get likes, you're trying to build a following, but are you trying to remember who you are? Are you trying to remember your mission? Because you would then say, well, let me just forget it. That's karma. Neptune conjunct the North Node in the first decan of Saturn is karma. There is a lot of shit that you've accumulated over many a lifetime that don't have nothing to do with what's going to bring you into the second decan, the Nine of Cups. Once again, we're dealing with the true version of you that's never going to die. We're only going to go into different bodies. That's the only thing that's going to change. So, how do we get to a point of self realization? First of all, we have to detach from the ego, from the material world, and get into the wisdom of the soul through meditation. What's going to keep us into the ego is that we're going to be afraid to die, which we are not afraid to die because the soul never dies. We're afraid to leave this body, but that is just simply inevitable. You will eventually leave this body, but you'll never die. So, therefore, instead of fearing death, why not create the creative pursuits that will allow you to remember yourself even beyond this life? Why not make an imprint so deep that for lifetimes upon lifetimes, that whether you in the bushes of Antarctica, you will still be able to find yourself because you made your voice that loud. You've created such a service to the world that you will be known for lifetime after lifetimes. Or you could just work a job, go home, and simply transition out the body and come to do this all over again. This is the purpose of spiritual conversations and spiritual development. It's not to make you feel good, but it's to actually teach you about who you are. Because once you figure out who you are, you will be benefited. Recognizing the soul's immortality will free you from fear, anxiety, and material illusions. So once again, how can you actually do it? Instead of mourning, change or instead of mourning, change the fearing of death to begin to spiritually grow, begin to self-realize, begin to understand. Read the Bhagavad Gita and then reflect and find yourself in it. Read the Bible, find yourself in it. Read the Quran, find yourself in it. Study Kabbalah, find yourself in it. Get a spiritual system, Egyptian mythology, it doesn't matter. Everything in reference to spiritual development is about the individual and that individual raising Kundalini throughout the seven chakras of the body to have self realization and self actualization and full magnetization, full activation of the powers. If you think that is something else, then it'll be something else. But if you don't think that you are the God, then that is the truth. All you will do is begin to get a job, work, get a house, live in that house, go to parties, go to your kid's graduation, get a dog, and transition out the body. That's all that it is. And if you find purpose in that, fine. If you find peace in that, fine. But for a lot of people, 40, 50, 60, 70 who get readings, they've done all of that shit times 10. And it don't equate to nothing because you do have a 12th house, because you do have a sixth house. There is a reason for you to be here. And if you don't know that reason, you need to cultivate Kundalini because I can't tell you what that is. I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody is here to help you in that regard. And if they say they are, they're scamming you. Okay? So appreciate everybody for pulling up, having a quick little spiritual conversation with me. I do have the Chakra Nova 777 intensive. We started Sunday. We'll be going every Sunday. So next Sunday, we'll be doing the sacral chakra. If you want to take part, please do so. The link is in the description. You can scan the QR code. I do have a coupon code or promo code, YouTube40. So specifically for my YouTube subscribers who want to take part in the Chakra Nova intensive, you'll get the root chakra meditation, the root chakra lecture, and of course the root chakra prompt so you can get caught up. But we'll begin this Sunday and we'll go every day within the Discord after that. So if you want something that's going to keep you engaged, something that you can do every single day for these next 49 days, it probably won't be 49 days now, it'll be 42, but I still feel that's enough. And I will offer this throughout the 7 weeks because You can always catch up. It's something that you can do at your own pace, but just to take part in the lives, do Q&A, but also, share. It's been very positive to see people share every day, not what's particularly going on in their life, but more or less what's going on in reference to spiritual growth. So I will read this review that Shantae had gave because I felt like it was sweet and it was very important that people read these types of things because I can say sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up, but y'all wouldn't take my word for it anyway. So let's listen to what Shantae had to say about the Chakra Nova 777 intensive. Let me start by giving thanks to Kyrie for creating, then nurturing spaces where true spiritual growth and healing can occur. That's love. I grabbed the Chakra Nova Intensive to add to our homeschool curriculum, knowing that it'd be beneficial for the whole fam. I noticed that me, my partner, and my little one we're storing tension in different areas of our bodies. When stretching, exercising, herbs, and plant based lifestyle didn't bring relief, I knew the discomfort and pain we were experiencing was emotional and we needed to go deeper to release and find relief. We only had the root chakra activation so far, and my hip pain went down from an 8.5 down to a 2. The pain had been present for at least 2 months, gradually increasing. My little one feels stronger and she's able to do exercises that she haven't been able to do for months before taking the course. The emotional release and physical relief have been profound. The Discord community is also encouraging and it's been a beautiful journey along those who are intentional. And let me see if I can get rid of this real quick. The Discord community is also encouraging and has been beautiful to journey alongside those who are intentional about true spiritual growth. Again, gratitude for creating the space. Good. So just wanted to kind of share that with the family just to let know people who are interested, maybe be on the fence, want to hear what other people have to say about it. That's what Shantae had to say. And I was just sharing that with the collective for those who might be interested in pulling up, joining us, and see what we got going on. Even with that being said, you can pay in installments with Klarna. So you can get the 40% off and still pay in installments basically, cancel every time, cancel at any time, but give you more or less of a, it's not as much as it is on the screen type shit. But the benefits I feel are priceless. So with all that being said, link is in the description. DM me on Instagram if you have any questions or any additional accommodations, man. This has been the Shift Report. I've been your host, the Hood Mystic. The Hood Mystic is crazy. The Hood Mystic, and this is where shift happens. Man, today we've been talking about the soul, but don't worry. This is just one of a four-part series where we're going to go through verse by verse by verse. The verse that we tackled today from the Bhagavad Gita was 213, and it's as follows: As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from childhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such change. So, whatever you're fearing, whatever you're worried about, learn to let it go, be free, and learn to travel through this actual matrix with a light and easy heart. Because, once again, as much as the body changes, as much as the reality changes, the soul will never change. Right? So, stay firm, stay aware, stay vigilant. With that all being said, I will see you all in the next video. This is the Shift Report where shift happens. I'm the Hood Mystic and I'm signing out. Peace.
The Shift Report with the Hood Mystic, where shift happens.